Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into your Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. Today is May 14th. I cannot believe we are already halfway through May. It feels like just yesterday Park City Mountain Resort shut down for the winter season. I'm your in-studio host today, Maddie Evans, and we've got a great show in store for you for this wonderful Mother's Day edition of Wasatch Weekends. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge mama's girl, and so anytime I have an excuse to celebrate my wonderful mother, I love to do just that. She is my most favorite person to ever exist. So for this special Mother's Day edition, we're going to show you how to make some delicious recipes in the crock pot with the one and only Tracy Miller from Colorful Cooking, who we would also like to give a very special Mother's Day shout out to. Now, if you're looking for something easy that you can make your mom for dinner tonight, well then this crock pot recipe is the recipe for you. Make sure that you check out parkcityfilm.org for this wonderful showing of a movie that is very special about a mom and her son that you can go see tonight. We're going to take a look at that local weather forecast right now, and then we've got more of the show after that.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to your Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to celebrate mothers everywhere today, and a great way to do so is to make your mother dinner. And an easy recipe that we're going to learn from the one and only Tracy Miller from Colorful Cooking is how to make something delicious in the crock pot. That way you can get out there, you can put it in your crock pot, you can enjoy your full day, and then you'll have this delicious dinner when you get home later. And so let's take a look at the first step of making a homemade crock pot meal.
It's chilly this morning. What's up? It's summertime here in the mountains, but the fruit and vegetables are so delicious. So today, what we're doing is the tri-tip. It was a big, like 5-pound tri-tip of steak. So we did that in the crock pot, but we're also going to do a corn and zucchini salad because this is the time that both corn and zucchini are plentiful and delicious. So I've already shucked my corn, and what I'm going to do is just put it in boiling water for about 5 minutes, maybe even a little bit less, because what happens when your veggies are super fresh like this, they do not take nearly as long to cook. So we're going to do a cold corn salad. So we just have this corn in boiling water, and we're just going to kind of rotate it around and let it cook for about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, we are going to make our salad, and this is going to be super easy. Zucchini, you can cook the zucchini if you want, just cut the tips off. And we have talked about different methods of chopping. So today what we're going to do is we are going to dice this up. So we're going to cut the zucchini into about 4 pieces. And I hope you remember by now, when you're working with these veggies, look at that. You don't want that. You want it to be a nice flat surface. So what you do is you cut the zucchini in half and then cut it into 4 pieces. And then we are going to cut it into 3 pieces this way. And then we're going to just dice it really, really small. And this is going to be served raw. So you kind of want to dice it nice and small, maybe about the size of a corn cob, because we are going to be taking the corn right off of the cob. So you want to dice it kind of the size of a corn kernel. And then we're going to do the same with this one. And I've decided only to cook 2 corns today because we don't want to waste it here. But if you have a family of 4, you're doing 4 pieces of corn. and you're also doing the whole zucchini. I'm just going to do half the zucchini today because we're doing a half a recipe right now. We're also going to add some fresh green onion to it. Of course, if you prefer the red onion, and a lot of people do, then go ahead and put a red onion in here. Just slice it really, really thin so that you don't get too strong of an onion bite in your salad. So here we go, just chopping that up. Don't forget your sharp knife and your nice, very stable cutting board, because you don't want everything to be sliding all around. And again, everything is so fresh in the summertime that it really just needs only a little bit of cooking. And a lot of people like to eat raw. And when you are eating raw, your stomach has to get prepared for it, but it's really healthy for you, because the more that you cook your vegetables, if you're overcooking them or something like that, the more nutrients they lose. So what happens is, right when you cut up your veggies, they start to lose their minerals and their vitamins. So fresh is great, and cutting up everything right before you're about to eat it is the way to go as well. Okay, when I'm checking my corn, I just kind of take a little, I want this to still have that pop, that really crisp pop. So I just kind of take my knife and see that it pops. And it pops a little bit. I'm gonna let this cook for just a couple, and probably another minute or so, but really, when you have this super fresh corn, you can cook it for really like 3, 4, 5 minutes, depending on how big the kernels are. My kernels are kind of big right now, but some of them that you're gonna get, they'll be little tiny. I actually was writing an article about corn a couple years ago, and a farmer wrote me back or emailed me, I don't remember the mode of communication, and said, Tracy, I loved your article because I told people don't overcook your corn. Like, everybody cooks their corn forever, and you really don't need to. You can cook it really, really quickly, and it tastes much better. And he said, I'm glad you wrote that article, because everybody overcooks their corn, then it gets stuck in your teeth and it's all mushy. And he said, I sometimes, when I'm out at the farm, I check the corn, and he just pulls the husk off and eats it right there raw, right off of where it's growing. So just know that it's true. You don't have to cook your corn that long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this hot corn into a bath of cold water. It's called blanching, and you do it with your veggies if you want to cool them off very quickly, and if you want them to maintain their beautiful color. So a lot of times when you are like putting veggies on a veggie platter, you have broccoli or something like that, and you want it to be nice and green, you'll blanch it. You put it in boiling water, you boil it, and then you put it in ice cold water, and that's called blanching, and it's a great way just to maintain the color of your veggies and kind of keep them looking really pretty. And this is going to be a cold salad, so if you're heading out on a picnic or something like that, then you can take this with you. Now we're going to make a super easy salad dressing, and I'm going to do it right in the bowl. Let's see here. Our salad dressing is going to be a creamy one, because we have a kind of a fatty cut of meat, so we're going to cut it a little bit with a cream. And whenever I make salad dressings that are creamy based, I do a mixture of mayonnaise and sour cream. If you just do mayonnaise, you kind of get a strong mayonnaise flavor, but if you mix some of that sour cream in there, equal parts, it's what we call cutting the flavor of the mayonnaise. So I'm just going to do equal parts, about a tablespoon of each. You're going to do 2 tablespoons because you're doubling up your recipe. So I have a tablespoon of mayonnaise, and then a tablespoon of sour cream. And really, I can put sour cream on anything. It's one of my favorites. So we have those, and we're also going to add a little bit of olive oil as well, just about a tablespoon of olive oil, because we just want a little more juice to it. And of course, salt and pepper. We'll add that. And then we want something acidic, so we're going to add some fresh lime juice to that. And whenever you're making a salad dressing, you typically want something nice and acidic in there, because that's going to, once again, cut the harsh flavors of the creamy dressing that we have. So I'm going to squeeze the whole entire lime. And this is actually a good juicy lime. I broke my lime juicer. I think I overused it, but if you have one of those tools, those are the best. And another hint is, if you put the lime or the lemon in the microwave, that gives you so much juice. Sometimes when I'm grilling, if I'm grilling fish and I want to put lemon on the side or something like that, I'll just cut the lemon in half and put it on the grill, and you squeeze it in a second and it has so much juice. Okay, so there we have our creamy dressing. And this is going to be just nice and fresh. Stir that around so it gets all combined. Give it a little taste too, because don't forget, when you're working with fresh veggies and fresh fruits like lime, you might be like, oh my gosh, that lime is so sour, I need to add a little bit of sweetness like honey or a little tiny bit of sugar or something like that. So give it a taste. See if you need to add anything. I'm going to taste it on the zucchini actually. So I'm going to give it a little taste. I think it tastes pretty good. It tastes a lot like olive oil, so I might want to put a little more lime juice if I can squeeze a little more in there. And again, when you're working with fresh fruits and vegetables, you always have to taste them. And I'm going to put a tad bit more sour cream in there just to kind of lighten it up a little because that olive oil is strong. When you're working with olive oil, of course, it's super healthy for you, but it's also pretty strong in flavor. So if you don't like the taste of olive oil and you want something different, then use a vegetable oil or a grapeseed oil or something that has a lighter flavor, a sunflower oil or something like that. All right, now I'm just going to put my zucchini and my onions right in there. And of course, sometimes the taste's mellow after you put your fruits and veggies into the salad dressing. Sometimes I'll taste something all by itself and I'll be like, oh, puckered up, that's like way too strong or something like that. But actually when you get to eating it, it's not at all because it combines nicely with the flavors.
Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. I don't know about you, but I am getting hungry just watching Tracy Miller cook. Now, she's going to teach us how to make this delicious salad to go hand in hand with that amazing crock pot recipe. And so if you are looking for something kind of light, airy, and crispy with some amazing corn for your Mother's Day meal, well then this is the recipe for you. So let's go back to the kitchen with Tracy Miller.
All right, here's a fun thing to do. We are going to take the corn off the cob. Now this is always nice to have a flat surface for this too. Ooh, yeah, that corn is looking really good and very fresh. We're just going to do this. Some people say they like to put their corn like in a bundt cake container where you can like stick the corn cob in there and then the corn just falls into the bundt cake. That's high maintenance for me, but if you're a newbie at getting the corn off the cob, that might be something you'd like to do. But this is pretty easy actually, and if you've ever had a kid or yourself with braces, you've done this before. All right, look at how nice and easy that comes off. Sharp knives are a key in the kitchen, which of course you should know that by now. Blanching is always really nice to do when you're working with fresh fruits and vegetables if you want to cook them and then keep them cold after. Alrighty, so now we have our corn. I'm just going to put that right there and break it up a little. Zucchini and corn salad. And I'm actually going to add a Roma tomato to this as well so I can give it a nice shot of color. And tomatoes, all this stuff is just super delicious and fresh right now. So the Romas are actually really good. Romas are nice because they're kind of hardy and they can last, you know, you can find them throughout the year. Oh, now I have corn all over me. The corn does go flying. Okay, so we're going to cut the Roma again, just like we cut it. We cut the zucchini. I'm going to give it some stripes with a nice sharp knife, and then I'm going to make it really small so they're all kind of the same size. A serrated knife is really nice to use if you're cutting tomatoes as well. If your knife isn't super duper sharp, it kind of makes it a little bit easier. If the kids are helping you or something, you want to give them a serrated knife. Make it a little less dangerous for them. Okay, so we have a super simple fresh salad. Keep it simple in the summertime because fruits and veggies are so good. You don't want to muck them up with too much stuff. So here we go, a nice creamy salad right there. Give it a taste, see if it needs a little more salt and pepper. Add some lettuce if you'd like to. And there we have it. I'm going to give it another shot of salt and pepper. And that's about it. Then you just like let it cool down. It'll be nice and tasty and colorful. And it has that creamy texture, which I think you're going to like with the beef tri-tip. Okay, let's move over to here where we have our crock pot. I have my crock pot going, and I actually cooked this overnight, which is kind of what I like to do. Now I'm going to show you the end result of that 5-pound beef tri-tip. Look at this. It's all nice and cooked, and it's really juicy. Do you see how much juice is in there? All I did was I put the tri-tip, I cut it in half, and I put it right in the crock pot. I didn't add any water, I didn't add any broth. And I think that one of the big mistakes that people make when they're cooking with their crock pot is they always want to add a little liquid. So if you have a fatty piece of meat like this, or maybe a pork that has some fat on it, or really even chicken, I don't add any liquid to my crock pot, because what happens is your crock pot is a slow cooker. If you don't have a crock pot, you can put your tri-tip in a pan, in a baking pan, and then cover it with a piece of saran wrap and then a piece of aluminum foil, tighten it all the way around, and cook it in your oven at about 285 for 8 to 10 hours. And that's what I did on this one. I did it on slow for 10 hours. I did it overnight, and then it was ready and it was cooked to perfection. And it's juicy enough that I don't need to add any more juices. So what happens, one of the big problems that people do with their crock pots is they put a meat in there and then they put a whole bunch of broth in there. So what happens is you're kind of just boiling your meat. You're not going to get any kind of sear. You're not going to get that slow cook. You're just going to get boiled meat. So be very careful when you're adding liquid to your crock pot. I really think it's completely unnecessary. And when I do chicken in here too, even if I do a chicken breast, I'll usually put a couple onions or carrots at the bottom, and then I'll put the chicken breast on top that's seasoned, and then I'll just close it down and cook it for like 4 hours or something. And it gets juicy enough because the natural juices from the chicken and from the veggies are going to start to secrete, and that's going to give it a lot of flavor, and that's going to make it so that there's enough liquid on the bottom that you're not going to wake up to like a burnt crock pot, but you're going to have some great flavor. So let's see what this looks like. We'll move the salad over here. I cut this in half just to fit into my crock pot. It was well seasoned already, so we kind of got like a little easy one on this with this beef tri-tip. Okay, and here we go. Definitely a little oily, which is why I wanted to do like a creamy sauce. And now let's see. I'm just going to slice it. And it's going to shred. It's going to shred a little too, so you could shred the whole thing if you wanted to with 2 forks. But there you go. So you have some nice meat right there. Look at how nice that is, and look at how tender it's cooked. So that could last a while. And there's a lot of recipes you could do with this. You know, you could make some tacos out of it if you wanted to. You could just put it on your cold salad if you wanted to. Lots of different recipes. I'm going to say it's more of a high-fat meat, so you're going to want something pretty healthy on the side. But, you know, that's just what I say. So let's plate this up and make it look really nice. Let me get this out of the way. Here's our plate. Let's get a little bit of meat here. And then some salad. More salad than meat, right? Everybody knows that you're supposed to have like 3/4 of your plate, or actually half of your plate filled up with veggies, 1/4 of it with a meat, and then 1/4 of it with a starch if you're doing that. But here we go. We have the tri-tip, and it's going to be served with this creamy salad, a corn salad. So you have a lot of fresh veggies, and then you have a little meat. So if you're looking to do a little barbecue, this is going to be perfect. And using the crock pot in the summertime is really nice because you get your meat, but yet you don't have to heat up your whole entire kitchen. So I really encourage people to use a crock pot in the summertime just for that reason, because nobody wants to turn on the oven in the summer, and the crock pot just sits there. It warms up just its little spot, and it doesn't get your whole house warm. So that's the beef tri-tip with the corn and zucchini salad. Once again, thank you for paying attention. I hope you really enjoy it, and let me know if you have any questions. And if you do, you can email me at tracy@colorfulcooking.com.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
We want to thank you so much for tuning into your Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to be here each and every weekend day, and now we're excited about this new expansion. Not only are we going to be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but we're continuing into Monday, so you can tune in tomorrow to spend your Monday morning with me to kick off the start of your week. Make sure that you make your mom feel very special this Mother's Day and wish them a very happy Mother's Day. So to all the moms out there, from everyone here at the TV station, we want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. Get out there, everyone, and enjoy your Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow for the first ever Monday edition of Wasatch Weekends.